Yay!
Yay. Hey.
Hi.
Hello.
So, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Eden Razine. I'm a new mother of a now 8-month old
Yay.
and started working with Laura. And I'm looking forward to this chat.
Yay. Thank you so much. I so really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So, tell me a little bit about how you were feeling and how you found me and how things were going beforehand when we
Yeah,
first met.
it was not that great. I think, it kind of just was a perfect storm. I don't know if I can call it that. So my husband was actually talking to a colleague and sharing his, lack of sleep and that we've really been struggling with our son and she had mentioned to him that she's a sleep coach. So neither one of us knew that that was a thing. Again, first time parents don't really have very many friends who have kids that are nearby. And I believe his colleague connected us to her contact who connected us to you. So it was kind of, a shot in the dark. I was honestly very skeptical. I wasn't sure how a sleep coach could help us virtually as well. So, but as how I was feeling, as a new mother, I felt okay, but the lack of sleep was definitely starting to wear on me. I almost felt to the point defeated. I was doing everything that I thought was right at the time and just desperate for some outside professional support. So, even though there was a little bit of skepticism of how it would work virtually, I was also very much ready to hear anything I possibly could to help our situation.
Yay. So, what have been the wins?
Yes. So I would say, the biggest win right now is that someone has been sleeping 9 to 11 hours straight at night, which is fantastic.
Woohoo.
So that's, that was a goal. And we accomplished it in probably like a 6 week time from the time that we started with all the steps and the coaching that, you put us through. The one thing that I definitely learned was that there's that consistency and that predictability, which is really important. And as you're in the motions, for me anyway, as a new mom, I did a lot of reading, kind of every day or every week about the things that they change. So you think you know what needs to be done, but once you're getting in there and doing it, you probably, or for me anyway, I shouldn't say others, but for me, kind of lost that consistency and that accountability. So in talking with you, being able to, do our periodic check-ins and get to the results that we did was, very exciting and a huge win and worth every every moment of it. On top of all the little nuggets that we took away that weren't necessarily related to sleep, but just him progressing, at his different milestones.
Yay.
Yeah.
Was there a particular routine or something in particular around consistency that was helpful?
Yeah, so I think, in the beginning, like I said, I thought I was doing routines. I'm like, we get ready for bed, turn down the lights, do the bottle. But we really developed something that worked well where I went from bath time just kind of being every other day or maybe twice, once every 2 days to every single day we'll do a bath, even if it's just getting in the tub, getting wet, doing that. And then we were able to move his bottle from being the last thing that he does to the second last thing. So he's not necessarily dependent on feeding. So we'll do bath time bottle. We'll read our bedtime stories. And then after the bedtime stories, it's lullabies. One thing that's really cool about the bedtime stories now, because one of your points was to try to read a bedtime story, like a night geared bedtime story. So there's one that I took out of his bookshelf and we've read it every single night since we've started. And now he's at the point where he actually gets so excited when I say if animals kiss goodnight, he's like waving around and like slapping his fingers. So he like knows the book now, which I think is so cool. And I don't think I would have gotten to that if I didn't implement that specific book into the bedtime routine. So he now knows that that's the book that we read before we go to sleep. And then I turn down the lights, I turn on his sound machine, and we just read lullabies or sing lullabies in the dark until he's ready to, he basically falls asleep almost immediately. There might be some days where he fusses, but it's like clockwork. So it's awesome.
Yay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're putting him down drowsy. You're waiting till he's drowsy and then you're putting him down when he's
Yes.
awake,
Yep, exactly. Yep,
but
when he's awake.
drowsy.
And we did, you know, and you probably recall when we were working together, we went through different stages. So now he's officially in his crib where I lay him down, where before we were kind of transitioning from like sleeping on our bed to his crib. So now, we can lay him down. There'll still be cries here and there, but he will, fall asleep. And if he does cry too much, we do the check and console, like going in there. So very much regimented. And I'm just waiting for that sleep regression because I know it's going to happen, but I'm ready for it when it comes up.
They do happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's so sad. I mean, even just that idea of like, if we have a big event coming the next day, we often have a hard time sleeping. And
yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Very true.
Okay, so let's see. So what was the impact of working together? Like, how is it affecting you?
I mean, one, I'm refreshed. I am officially getting the rest that I need. I mean, going from sleeping like 1 or 2 hours a night, it's truly not just for me, but changed the dynamic of our family. I think that I'm no longer just anxious knowing that, like, is he going to wake up tonight? And if he does, what do I do? So it's truly just kind of made it peaceful in that sense. Because honestly, outside of that, we didn't really have too many challenges with him, right? It was truly just the sleep portion of it. So I would just say that everyone's more well rested, and it's helped during the day because we're able to implement more of a nap time routine. So I know that usually now that he's getting bigger every 3 hours, he's tired, like seeing those sleep cues that I knew were there, but it's just made me more laser focused onto the things that he's doing for me to pay attention to when I know it's time for a nap. So it's been awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yay. I'm so excited. Yeah, it's been fun to work together and see all the progress. And how are you feeling now?
Good. I mean, I'm like I said, I feel empowered to know that I can get through it and that they're just stages, but just having these methods in my back pocket to be able to refer back to is really helpful. Um, and so I guess I just feel more confident that, like, I was like, I can get my kid to sleep, like, and everyone has their own ways of doing it, but I know that, like, this has worked for us, and that we do have another kid too, may not be the carbon copy, but having those steps to know how to get to that consistency and predictability for, another child. That's good.
Hey,
Yay.
awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, like, so one of the things, like, I guess I focus a lot about the sleep, but there's just other little nuggets that you shared, like, that quiet alert. I say that all the time. Like, when he wakes up from his nap, he's very zoned out and quiet, but I know that that's an opportunity for me to try to play with some toys, engage him. And I think that that's really neat because everyone's just like, oh, he's so quiet. I'm like, no, it's actually quiet awake. He's very alert, but he's just, in his own zone. So just those little things that I took away, or the bubbles. Like, it's crazy to see how excited he is when we blow bubbles. There's just so many like little milestones, or the creeper crawlers, or to see his progression that I learned in just working with you, and I think it's been really helpful just to expand my knowledge and what he's going through and developing. So it was great.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah,
Well,
that was
thank you.
awesome. I'm so glad that we did this. Like I said, I was like, how is this going to work virtually? Like this, there's no way, but it really did come together. And I think when I look back onto it, I probably look at coaching way differently now too. Like, I'm a person who asks a lot of questions and wants to figure it out right away, but I think it really helped keep me on track. And at the end of each call, or every call, like, what did you learn today, or what are your takeaways? And knowing that, if I talk to you next week, we're going to be having those discussions. So throughout the week, at least making mental notes and checks to share with you of like, this worked or this didn't work, and adjusting our plan. So I think sleep coach, or all coaching, has kind of just changed my perspective on how those opportunities can work. I like it.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you tell somebody else about coaching?
No, I mean, like, I guess I could say, like, I'm an advocate for it now. Like, even for my own personal growth, like, I look at coaching differently. And I mean, we've had talks where I've gotten my goal, right? I came into this looking to get my son to sleep, and we did, but that doesn't necessarily say that it's not something that I would want to keep doing. I think that working with somebody has been very advantageous, and I've learned a lot. So maybe we don't meet every week, but we meet, once a month, or we regroup in a little bit. Because I think as as a mother, I know that I'm always going to have more challenges. I see friends who have toddlers, so I can only imagine, what's in store for the future. But knowing that there's a support system that you can lean back onto and get advice from is great. Because, like I said, I don't have a lot of friends with kids, and I do appreciate more scientific expert advice, but also it doesn't have to necessarily be textbook. Just learning from other experiences and what you've, gathered in your career and tenure, I think is really helpful too.
Well, thank you for doing this and sharing. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Hope that helps too. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. I'm gonna